like to demonstrate today how you create attributed blocks which allow you to embed additional information into your AutoCAD drawing, and then you can extract that information and either keep it as a table within the drawing itself, or the information can go externally and be used in Excel or whatever other database or Word or spreadsheet you might be needing to use. So this drawing is a pretty simple setup, something that quite a lot of people want to do. There's no need to leave AutoCAD and start using Revit for something as basic as this. The scheduling here isn't kind of magically linked to the information. You would have to, if you change some of the information here, you would have to refresh the tables. But for simple work, this is absolutely fine. You don't need to have the complexity of using Revit, and just a basic drawing here which you can quantify from. So this drawing's been drawn in meters, okay, and that was only just so I could quantify the areas and keep the numbers relatively easy to work with. Okay, so let's have a closer look here, and I've got two attributed blocks here. One of them I'm using to quantify the areas, and another one I'm using to describe which plants are getting used in particular areas, or what the finishes are. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll show you how you create this information kind of holding block. Okay, so we'll go to the side and start creating something like this. Okay, I've got a layer set up already called areas data, so I'm just going to use that one. And I've also got a text style which I'm using for this. So you might have a text style called attributes. I've just got one called landscape here that I'm using, set to a height of 0 so I can control it whenever I need to, and the width factor is slightly narrower, just so I can have more information on screen. Okay, the command to use is @def, ATTDEF, attribute define. Okay, now each attribute has to have a tag which can't be you can't repeat the tag name. It's got to be kind of what would you call it? I can't think of the word. But you can't repeat the same word. It will clash. You have to be careful what characters you use as well. So let's call this area 2. Okay, and the prompt, we would say, you're trying to get information out of the person you're doing the drawing, so you call this area name, and a default value, we'll just put in the word area, just so people can add number 1, 2, 3, etc. onto the end of it. Okay, we've got a bit of control here over where the text goes, showing its left, the landscape. Height for this, I'll just put it in at 1 meter because I'm working in meters in this drawing. And then we've got some controls over this side, and generally I've never used the rest of them apart from invisible. Invisible lets you either show or hide the data. Now, for the first tag for the block, the kind of name of the tag, would need this one visible, or you wouldn't know they were there. Okay, so we'll keep the tag visible for this one, but the next ones we'll put them in invisible. So click OK. Okay, now that's coming in. It's pretty big, but we could adjust that. Okay, so we'll maybe scale this down a bit. So a height of 1 there. I'll just check that that's 1 meter, just to. Yeah, it is 1 meter. So that's a bit big. So what I'll do is I'll change that, and I think at least half that size would be okay. So we'll find the text height in here, if I can find it. Height of 1. Okay, so let's change it to say 0.5, and we'll use 0.5 for the rest. Okay, now we should we should be able, oh no, we won't be able to copy that because we won't be able to get to the invisible tag. So we'll place the next tag. So it's @def again. Okay, and then this is where we're actually putting in the square meterage. So this is area in, so we'll call this area size. Silly today. Area size, prompt, area in meters squared. Okay, and the default, so we'll just make it a bit easier for somebody to type in, so we'll just put an M2 in there so they can add the number in front of that. But we'll make this one invisible and keep everything else the same, but we'll put the height at 0.5 just to save a bit of work. Okay. Oops. That's me breaking the rules already. Can't contain a space. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll put that at the insertion point of the first tag, but then just move it down slightly. Okay. So we'll just move it down so it's going to be visible as well. Okay. And then we'll add a third one, I think. So @def again. And we'll say we want the perimeter, the size of the perimeter, so somebody could work out how many curbstones they need, or how much fencing they need, etc. So we'll call this perimeter and prompt. Let's go with perimeter length. Default will just be in meters, this one, so just an M instead. Okay, and we'll keep this one invisible too, 0.5. Okay, we'll place it on the insertion of that one, and then move it down by the spacing that we've already got. So insertion to insertion. Come on, give me the next insertion point, please. There we go. Okay, so that's my block ready to create. Okay, this one's going to end up being visible, but these two will remain invisible. Okay, so now what to do is combine these into a block. But before we do that, what we'll do is we'll copy them in reverse order. So we're going to copy them onto themselves in reverse order, and what this does is make sure that the questions get posed in the correct order, because you want to be filling it in the correct order. You don't want to start with a perimeter value. Okay, now I'm not going to demonstrate it doing wrong, I'm just going to show you the right way to do it. So we'll copy this onto itself and then delete the previous. Okay, so I'm going to add onto my object snaps. I'm going to add the insertion point snap. Okay, and then copy, and so it's one at a time. So copy from insertion point to insertion point, and then erase the previous. So it's E return, P return, return again. Okay, so he's the newest at the moment. Okay, so we're copying again. Copy this one from insertion point to insertion point and return. E return, P return. Okay, he's now the newest one. Okay, and then finally copy this guy from insertion to insertion, then E return, P return, and he's gone. Okay, so this guy's the newest. He should show up first as the question. Okay, so now we block this. So you turn it into a block. So use the command B for block. Okay, it's asking me what I want to call it. We've got some blocks in here already. We've got area tag, plant data. Let's call this area 2. Base point. I want to specify, well, I'm going to pick a point actually. I'm going to pick a point, and I'll use the insertion point of this tag. And I want to select the objects, 1, 2, 3, and return. I'll delete it just so we can see it coming in refresh, and OK. Okay, so now we'll insert one of those. So I for insert, area 2, it's just picked up on the newest block that's been made, so that's fine. So OK. And there you see the questions being posed straight away in correct order. So let's just make up a random set of areas here. I'll not try and use the ones that are already here. It takes a bit too long to put all the data in correctly. So the area name is going to be called area 1. In square meters, let's say this one is 20 meters squared and has a perimeter of 12 meters, say. Okay, so what should happen is area 1 should be visible, but these two numbers should be invisible. Okay, now he's gone to 0, 0, I think. Yeah, there he is. Right, because I didn't pick a base point, so let's just move it back towards the drawing. Okay, so sit you there. Okay, I'll choose a better point this time. So we'll do another one. So I'll insert another one. So it's area 2. This is what I forgot to put on last time. I forgot to put me controlling it. Okay, so let's say this one. Okay, it's asking me the questions now down in the command prompt. Now I didn't ask it to do that. It's just decided to do it itself. So this is going to be area 2. Okay, area in meters, let's say this one's 45 meters squared, and perimeter length, say it's 78 meters. Okay, now why did it decide to put it in there this time instead of giving me the dialog box? I'm going to see what's happening. There's a control that shows whether it will use dialog boxes or not, and I think that's called @dia. Okay, so @dia at the moment is set to 0, so dialog boxes are basically disabled. What command forced that, I don't know, but I'm going to put that back to 1 and see if when we place the next one it comes up as a dialog box instead. So let's place another of these. Okay, yeah. Something we did there decided to switch it off. So this one's, it's useful to know that you can either display them in the command prompt or up on screen in the dialog boxes. Dialog box is obviously a bit easier because my default values are there already. Okay, so let's say this one is 90 meters squared and it has a perimeter of 125, say. Okay, so you see that the information is hidden, but it's accessible. So you just double click and you can then change the values if you need to make corrections or whatever. And if these were related to this drawing, then obviously we could move these into position. Okay. You get the idea? Okay, so let's delete these tables that are here, and we'll extract the information from these two guys, from these three attributes. Now, the exporting data from AutoCAD, you've got a bit more control when you do it from the full version of AutoCAD. You can still do it from AutoCAD Lite, but there's a few more options you get to do with the full version, but nothing that should bother too many people. So let's see what we've got here. It's in a, where is it again? It's exporting data. I can't remember where it is actually. Let me just pause this for a second, just because I don't want to waste your time me trying to find the. Okay, found it now. We're generally working in the home ribbon, but if you go to the annotate ribbon, and it's in the tables panel. Okay, annotate tables, and we can extract data Okay, and it's going to create its own kind of file types here, so you got to just kind of bear with it, but we do eventually get to an option for creating the Excel data as well. So we're creating a new data extraction just now, and we'll go to next. Okay, so the same way you want to put it, so I'll put it on my desktop, and I've got a wee folder here called attributed blocks. Now there's a couple of data extractions already in there, but we'll create a new one here, and this will be called areas 2. Okay, so we'll save that. Okay, and then we carry on to settings. We want to extract data from blocks only. We don't want to bring it through from XREFs. And we'll go for everything that's in the drawing. Okay, then next. Okay, and this is when you get a bit more control over things. Okay, so we can turn off some of these objects. We just want to work with blocks only. So if we turn that off, we can see there's only 3 types of blocks. All 3 of these have got attributes with them. Okay, but we're only wanting to pull the data from area 2. Okay, so I'll turn those 2 off. So we're reducing the amount of data quite considerably. Okay, then next. So it's going to look inside that block now. And so within that block there's lots of data that could be extracted. Okay, but all we want is the attribute information. So if we turn off these ticks, it will should leave us with just the 3 bits of information that we've placed in them. Okay, so it's now ready to go. So next again. Okay, and then it's saying how do you want to organize the data. Okay, so we need these 3 columns only. So we don't need a count column, and we don't need the name column. Okay, it's just wasted time. And we should be able to sort these into our own order, so you can just move the tags at the top here. So we've got area 2, area size and perimeter, so that's in a more sensible order now. So you just drag the names to rearrange them. Okay, we'll have a look at a preview. So not much different from what we just saw there. Okay, and then next again. Okay, so we can, if we want, we can place the data in the drawing and output it as well to Excel or other database type files. So let's do both. Put a tick in both. It's going to create a file on the desktop. Let's tell it where it's going to go so I can find it. Let's put it in here, and we'll call this areas 2. Okay, and save. Then next. Okay, we can do a bit more redefining of the way the table looks for inside AutoCAD, but I'm just going to go with the flow here, and next again, and finish. Okay, so at the end of my cursor here, I've got this massive table. Not got much data in it. Okay, and you just resize that. So using the scale command, let's say put it down to say 0.25. Let's stick it underneath the drawing. Okay, so there's my data. Even though I can't see the information in the block or the tag here, I can extract the information to there. And if I open Excel and then open the file, so we're on the desktop again. So it's areas 2. and there's the information. So you can edit this, you know, much easier to edit in Excel than it is in AutoCAD, but you can see it's quite easy to get a hold of. Okay, so you know the same principle applies to if you were doing door scheduling or window scheduling. I'm keeping the blocks kind of independent. I'm keeping this attributed block independent of other objects. So I'm not trying to bind it in with another object, because then you kind of run into problems with the scale of the text and things. So if they are separate, then you can get a bit more control. But you know, you may lose count then. So if you didn't have it tied in with the window or the door or the tree block, then you might lose a bit of control. Well, anyway, I hope that's been useful, and thanks for watching.